Well, I did say that this was going to be a big summer transfer window, didn't I? Over 25 million spent already and a few familiar names moving on from the club. There's also a couple of familiar ones coming in. Let's go and take a look at what's been happening at Distillery. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 160 of this Build a Nation story, Lifting Spirits with me, Daniel. We are back today with a huge summer transfer special for the club. Our transfer record has been broken, I think 3 times already, and who knows, it may yet happen again this window. There's one slot left to bring in a superstar that's not homegrown, and I may well use it. If we also reach the Champions League group stages, which we start the process of trying to do against Slovan Bratislava today, then we will cover 2/3 of the finances of our summer purely by winning that tie. There's been lots of other action in Europe for the Northern Irish sides. We'll keep an eye on that. Been a very underwhelming window for the rest of the sides in the nation. But if you're looking forward to what has been a huge summer here, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. We've had some interesting news and some disappointments and frustrations. We've missed out on loads of quality players, and 1 or 2 that we wanted to sell have not left the club, although one of them's really worked in our favour. We'll see why in a minute. But let's start by going to the transfer screen, because there is a lot to get through. We had a lot of players who we knew would be leaving the club, whether it's the end of loans, whether it was transfers or want-aways, but we have managed to bring in a lot of replacements. There's plenty still going on as well. Loan offers coming in for first team players, also a bit of transfer activity here, which you can see Tennant Harding has agreed to join permanently at the end of his loan, and that is a sign that 2.5 to 3 star reputation boost has now made a bit of a difference, because he's willing to leave Derry to come here. However, we've got to talk about what's happened in terms of the outs. We'll get back to the ins in a minute, and we'll start with the released players, because at the end of last season we knew a few were moving on. Probably the biggest name in terms of the transfers out was Michael Collier, who we'd signed from Linfield a couple of years ago, but he just had so many injuries that he didn't get to contribute in the way that we'd imagined. We also let a couple of others go. Probably Nick Caulfield, someone who played quite a lot for the first team, a name you'll recognise. He's now gone to Glentoran, so he's improving the nation too. But otherwise, no real superstars. We go to all of the transfers though, there's been a lot more names going in and out. Let's start with the outs as we normally do. So after his loan last season, Matthew Hamilton has gone permanently to Larne. 34 grand, he's now 31. He didn't have long on his contract, I think only 6 months in fact. So he'll go and improve another side in the nation. And then the other ones at the end of last season, I think were just loans and a free agent. David Quinn had pre-agreed to go to Coleraine. This season though, a lot more getting done and a bit more yet to come. There's probably one name in particular that sticks out there in terms of someone we thought would be a star of the future. We'll get to him in a minute. The first one out was Paul Symington, pre-agreed again. I hope he can reach his potential, as he could still be useful for the nation yet. And then further down, let's get to the first teamers. Kyle Carr has left the club for 1.8 million. Despite being Northern Irish, he wasn't homegrown in the nation, and we've managed to get in probably our biggest summer signing to replace him, and someone who I feel is a big step up in quality. So Kyle Carr leaves, Miles Dow drops to second choice, and we get a new first choice in. That's what we've wanted to do in a few positions. In addition to that, Stephen Cowan moved on to Coventry. Annoyingly, he rejected a move a week or 2 earlier for about 2.5 million. Pretty sure it was to Blackpool, if my memory serves me right. A brilliant servant for this football club again, but just not at the level anymore. And with the likes of Vucinic coming back, who was in the Golden Boy Next Gen list, we've got to make sure that we progress those guys. And Stephen Cowan, he moves on as a result. Paul Elliott, his backup, is homegrown in the nation, which is why that one's a little trickier. Stuart Tomlinson goes out on loan to Accrington. Looked really promising a few years ago. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he'll make it now. But the big sale of the summer is Owen Kidd. He has gone to Derby for £3 million with a huge bunch of add-ons, particularly a sell-on clause. Basically, we got to a position this summer where I was able to bring in loads of brilliant centre-halves. And once we'd done that, we signed 2, I think, who have improved us. It just wasn't feasible to keep Owen Kidd as a 5th or 6th choice. He was unhappy, he was out of contract next summer and wouldn't sign a new deal. So why lose him for free when we could lose him for £3 million with a massive sell-on too? So Owen Kidd moves on to Derby, and 4 more have left the club on loan. 2 of them are players we signed earlier in the summer, and one of them has really annoyed me because Nenad Paleka, who we signed last summer, came back from his loan this summer. Within 3 days of returning to the club, he'd thrown his toys out the pram because AC Milan and Juve came in for him. Now, I didn't want to lose him permanently at this stage because I felt he's a big asset for the future, but we couldn't have that unhappiness in the club. I've also managed to bring in a superstar on loan on the left wing who will replace Vladimir, whose loan expired last season. He's now going to be first choice at Liverpool, which is how good he was. But that means that Paleka wasn't going to be first choice, and given the fact that he was causing unrest, he was really complaining to the squad. I felt like the best compromise was to get him out on loan. He goes to an SPL side who are going to play him first choice. He's going to make an impact there and get a good year of development. So Paleka has gone to Hearts for the season. We'll readdress that situation next summer. That's all of the outs done. Now we move to the ins because there have been a lot of them. The first one you already knew about, which was breaking our transfer record as a club. Lee O'Donnell joins from Seattle. As you can see, he's improving already, he's training brilliantly, and he was part of that upgrade that meant Owen Kidd had to leave the club. For £5,000 a week, it's a brilliant deal, and we will make a profit on him, no doubt about that. The next one was a very different type of signing. I tried to avoid taking the best players from other clubs in the nation, but Gerard Gorman was a youth player at Glenavon, was getting interest from the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal and a few other Premier League clubs, and we wanted to keep him within the nation. So he comes in to be part of our under-18s, got huge potential, got lots of good core attributes, a midfielder with great natural fitness, a work rate, he's fairly determined, got good technique too. So we'll just see how he develops, but great to have him in, and hopefully he'll contribute in the future. We'll try and loan him out within the nation when he turns 17. Very similar mould to that was Paul Brown, who was our first second half of the summer signing from Arsenal. He came in on a free, he's a young Northern Irishman, has played for the under-19s at international level, only 1.5 star ability at the minute, but fairly big potential. We've chucked him on the loan list, and hopefully he'll reach his potential again. But someone who we thought we've got to give a lifeline to, rather than him rotting as a free agent. Now we get to the first teamers. 6 players coming in, 2 of them we've loaned back out, 4 of them are going to be stars. 2 of them are superstar upgrades, and 2 of them are among the best in our Northern Irish international squad. The first one is a name you'll probably remember well. Albert Press came through very early in the save at Ballymena, has played for Linfield. In fact, it was Linfield he came through at, was on loan at Ballymena the year they won the title in the second tier, and we really struggled to deal with them. Then played for Linfield at the top level before getting loads of moves within England. I mean, you look at the transfer fees over his career, you see how good the player is. Spent last year at Sevilla, who aren't quite what they once were in Spain. But now, at 31, as a free agent, he comes back to Northern Ireland. And I just felt, yes, it's not a normal type of signing, getting a player in his 30s, but he's versatile. He covers a few problem positions for us, and he's also homegrown in the nation. So as a replacement for, say, a Collier, I think it's a massive upgrade. He's also got a great personality for the mentoring groups. He's 2-footed. He's a likeable lad. He's got good traits, and he's 6'1" as well. It was a no-brainer, but he's got nothing on the next man, who joins from the same club and is a man he will obviously know as a result. Jakov Urza is our first £10 million man. He joins from Burnley, is a 22-year-old Israeli left-back. Isn't one of the world beaters by any stretch of the imagination, but is a big upgrade on Kyle Carr and Miles Stow. He's also incredibly good in the air. We've talked about losing a bit of that physicality over the years, which has affected us in Europe. And this guy, as an international who's played Premier League and Championship football, is someone that we really know will deliver on the big stage. Got a great personality, good positioning, good defensively, can whip a good cross in for Mark Scully as well. It's a big upgrade on the wages, 31 grand a week. He will be our top earner, but I feel he's worth it. And what happened is when we signed him, a few other players that weren't interested before were suddenly willing to come in. And one of the things I've been looking at this summer, which Albert Press was a part of, which this guy is a part of, is this reputation here. We're getting players in who have got a 2.5 or 3 star personal reputation, and that in turn is boosting the viewing of our club from the outside. So Jakov Urza, our first choice left back, and the first big splash the cash signing of this save. The next one, a very different type, a free agent, Declan Hendry. He is a 22-year-old English striker. Basically, he popped up in the scout reports as wanting a very little wage, having huge potential, but being nowhere near reaching it at the minute. So we've signed him with a view to loaning him straight out. He's chosen to go to Dundee United, who had just been relegated to the Scottish Championship, and he's already scored 3 and 4 there. It looks like he's going to develop. They've got great facilities. He's a good footballer, likes to place his shots. He's 6'2", good finishing, good composure, fairly quick. If he does develop, he's going to be a star for this club, but we'll wait and see how he comes back next year. Then we've got 3 more, 2 of which will be involved in the first team. Cameron Thompson is a name many of you may remember. He is one of the young stars of the Northern Irish international team. We signed him for 8 million from Nottingham Forest. He is homegrown in the nation, a big difference made having that. And he is someone who at 3.5-star ability as a centre-half and as a left-back provides brilliant quality to this squad. Yes, he might not start every game and he's on nearly 30 grand a week, but I'm looking to the future for someone who loves playing with us anyway, again has that driven personality, again is physically strong. We've got somebody who at 24 is going to get better again, is Northern Irish and has that attachment to the fans. We want to get the best Northern Irish players in the Northern Irish Premiership, and in Cameron Thompson we've done that. I'm really happy with that signing. Again, nearly 100 appearances in the top 2 tiers of England. Someone who adds experience and quality. He's not as good, though, as my golden nugget of the summer. He's 1.2 million just on loan fees, but with Vladimir going on the left-hand side, with Paleka Strop, who was the man who was supposed to be the big replacement this summer, I had to go big and find a superstar. And in Jonathan Evans, my word, have we done that. Not quite the natural fit, because he's not really an inverted winger. He's not right-footed, whatever else. But look at this. 6'2", big at the back post with his jumping reach, great dribbling, great crossing, physically a monster, mentally very good, professional player, great reputation again, a Welsh international. We've got a gem, everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing how he plays, but with Vladimir going, I felt I had to go for a bit of stardust, and there were 2 choices from Manchester City. I will show you the other one very quickly as well. I'm not sure if he went elsewhere. This guy, Matulovic, was a Croatian. Now, he's actually better cutting in from the right, but physically was quite slight. And he also was a little bit more reserved about coming to the club. So it might end up being the wrong decision. But for now, Jonathan Evans has physicality, professionalism, and genuine outright quality. The final signing of the summer was a bit of a low-risk gamble. Magloire class comes in from Spurs for 350 grand. As you can see, he's a very good young midfielder. His attitude's not great. His work rate's poor. I didn't feel I could risk him in our team this season, but I have got him loaned out to Luton Town in the Championship. He's going to get a season of first choice football there. I mean, he's not actually played a huge amount of career football. Spent last year on loan in League One. This is a natural step up to the Champ, and then if he does well, he can play for us next year. But another good signing with almost no risk up front. And if he doesn't do that well, we still probably sell him for a profit next summer. So that is all the transfer work done. We will have a quick look at the squad because it's not over yet. There's 2 or 3 who may well move on, and we're looking now at people who aren't homegrown at the club, who aren't going to start every game. Jordan Gash is possibly one of those. We've just rejected an offer for him, and as you can see, we've agreed to sell if over 5.25 million comes in, which would be a great deal for someone like him. We've also got a few others in the squad that we're not sure about. Maybe Chris Houston goes out on loan. We probably let one of the centre-halves go because at the moment, Leo O'Donnell has come in. Of course, Cameron Thompson as well. We've still got Bird, Davis and McKenzie. You can see Davis is wanted. If we get a big offer, he'll probably move on again as well. And the big bit of luck we got this summer, if I'm being honest, is Jonathan Morrison in goal. We've accepted 2 or 3 offers around the £8 million mark, not from his preferred choice Leicester though. And as a result, he's rejected all of his moves away, which frustrated me a bit in terms of losing a homegrown slot. But then Morgan Hassan got injured for 5 weeks, so having Morrison at the moment is actually a bit of a blessing in disguise. The other big bit of news that may be a negative this summer is this man Klaus Bayervang. The last offer we rejected for him was around £15 million. We get to 20, we have to look honestly and say, the kid isn't worth that. So if we get 20 million quid, he may be off as well. There's some big clubs that want him. With that out the way though, let's have a look at the nation, because the transfers this summer have been so underwhelming elsewhere. We had a few that were pre-agreed at the start of the month, and Linfield and Larne and the likes largely going for youngsters for the future. There's genuinely been next to nothing from the top clubs. It's been so disappointing. However, in Europe, they've all done a little better than I expected. We'll start with Coleraine, who finished 5th last season. They went in and managed to beat Partizani, and they got through to face Sion, who they beat in the home leg. But unfortunately, they just fell away in the end. Glentoran, well, they're still in Europe and they're doing well. They got through to the 4th qualifying round against Standard Liège, having beaten a side from Slovakia and Armenia prior. And that means that, although they'll probably go out, they've added a little bit to the coefficient. And then Larne, they went into the Europa League, put up a good fight, but did go out to St. Gallen, who, by the way, St. Gallen have got a wonder kid striker who I really want to sign. Unfortunately, though, he's not willing to join us at the moment. He's got a release clause of 11.5 million, but again, the reputation thing is an issue. So they face Brøndby for a place in the Europa Conference League groups. I just want one of those two to get through. And Linfield, probably the story of the summer. I've been very disappointed by their transfer work. But look at what they've done in Champions League qualifying. They beat Rijeka 4-0 over 2 legs. They beat Ajax 6-1 over 2 legs. That's an Ajax side that have got players on 50, 60 grand a week who are excellent. And it looks like Mackie, our international star, is their star of the show. Good job we didn't take him last time. And then Lyon, they've lost 1-0 to, but Lyon put us out of Europe a couple of years ago. We can't be worried about that. They're going to get through to the Europa League group stage at least. It's another good season for them in Europe. Let's move on to our opening day of the year though. Our first league game was postponed, so our first game is against Slovan Bratislava away in a Champions League playoff. Now it's not a league that's loaded, the Slovakian one, which may make this tie easier. However, it is the source of frustration this summer because one of their star players is a wonder kid young right winger, who, as you can see at 18 years of age, is brilliant, but again won't join us because of our lack of reputation. So unfortunately, players of this quality even, who we're scouting and finding are going to be superstars for the future, we just can't get them in. I should mention as well, by the way, we have overtaken the English Championship in terms of league reputation. It is up to 3-star and 1 away from 3.5. We've also set a new record average attendance, which went over 4,000 for the first time. We've got extra season ticket sales, extra reputation in the club. It's all moving in the right direction, but it needs a big year or two to come. The coefficient is going up next year, which will make a big difference. The jump to 11th should be astronomical for the other sides. But for now, we've got to get our job done. We go away to Slovan Bratislava. We've got one of the biggest squads we've ever had to pick from. And we've not got much unhappiness due to the work we've done in the summer. So let's go and get our best team pick for today. I'll probably be quite cautious with the players I bring in. And then we'll go and get into our first match and see a couple of debutants with a chance to shine. Right then, as I mentioned, we have been fairly cautious when it comes to debutants today. Just 2 in from the start. Those are Urza on the left-hand side of the fence and O'Donnell at centre-half. We've also on the bench got Vucinic and Evans who are close to starting. I've gone for Howard as the safe option on the right for now, Misselidis off the left. The main reason for that is that Evans hasn't been here long. If he was fitter, he probably would have started. Thompson is on the bench too. Albert Press is not quite fit. He might have played 10 ahead of Lonsdale otherwise, but this is the team we've gone for in full. Morrison in goal. He is playing again because he rejected a move away and now Hassan got injured. Reed and Urza the fullback. Urza not at his full star rating because we're playing him in a slightly different role. Bird and O'Donnell the centre halves. Bayavang and Gash switch sides in midfield. Howard and Misselidis out wide. And then Lonsdale behind Mark Scully up front. Will we need the time wasting away in Slovakia? Let's get into it and find out. Well, here we go. And it's almost a full bench for the host today, who have got loads of quality youngsters in the 18s behind the likes of Horniak and Dancote, their centre half. But let's go and get through the dressing room. We're going to try and be on the front foot from the start. I'm hopeful that will work out. But then if we need to, as we do against stronger opposition, drop to balanced and hit on the counter, we can adapt if need be. Let's go and get through the tunnel interview, through all the music, and back in a minute for the first half highlights. Well, a big crowd here in Slovakia, and immediately a free kick for the host, which is headed away. Scully can't get there, and Sabo will bring it down the right. But a good start here from the host, and I wonder if they'll be able to put us under pressure. But Misselidis nicks it, and we're away on the counter. Scully holds it up for Bayavang. He's playing in a more advanced role, releases Lonsdale, and his shot's just wide, but it's a great counter-attack there. Maybe we should drop to balance because that seems to be what we're best at. Oh, Misselidis on the left here as we push forward. Oh, you can't be serious. 4 minutes into his debut, a big game, and the red card curse strikes. I mean, seriously, you wouldn't do that. You would not do that. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it's happened again. The red card curse is here to stay. It means another debutant will come on. Cameron Thompson will have to replace Lonsdale. We will now drop to balanced. And our job is to just try and hold on in this game, because this has now become a must not lose away with 10 men against a good side in the Champions League. You can see TNS are having a good day and Thompson is throwing in from the left. Maybe hitting on the counter will suit us now, but we've given it away again. Jordan Gash recovers his mistake. Bayavang with a through ball, which is intercepted. I guess at least with Howard and Misselidis in the wide areas, we've basically got 3 strikers on, and we should be ruthless with chances. As the ball's headed away by Bratislava, we're still a threat here as Gash gets the ball, finds his centre midfield partner, and back to Thompson. He's a natural right footer, so we'll cut in a bit as it switches to Reed on the other side. He's not that far ahead of Freeman now, who has developed massively over the summer, but that shot is straight at the goalkeeper, and there's no real threat on the goal. Well, into stoppage time in the first half. It's been very quiet since the red card, as O'Donnell heads just over the bar on debut. Hopefully he won't get sent off as well. But what we have now got on a stroke of half time, believe your luck if you can, is an injury to Cameron Thompson. I don't actually know what it is. I didn't remember getting told. I think we're going to have to let him go because he's hampered by injury. So Miles Stow is back to first choice within 45 minutes. He's gone from third choice to first choice just like that. Oh, this is ridiculous. You could not write it, could you? As Benno gets the ball back to Czech. Bratislava have offered nothing in this game. But it wouldn't really surprise you if they went and nick one here. As Horniak gets in, great effort from him. He's now playing through the middle by the looks, but that one's over the bar. I mean, we've got to take positives from how well we've played with 10 men. But we've not looked like scoring. We've not created great chances. It might be the moment for a couple of magic men. And I'm going to go for one of them in a minute. As Reed puts a free kick in. Bayavang down. Miles Stow! I mean, how about that? How about that? I am very sorry, Miles. I tried to push you out the team. And you have come back in after 2 other players have gone off. You must have been wondering where you were going to play at the start. And you've turned up with a big goal away in Europe. I mean, that is the perfect example of why you don't try and chuckle your new boys in. I am going to make one more sub at the minute. Misselidis will be replaced by Evans, who's apprehensive. He's a superstar on debut and a bit more of a traditional relaxed winger here. It might be an opportunity, in fact, to give a bit of a break defensively to Miles Stow. So I'm going to put him as a normal winger. And then in midfield, Jordan Gash, not really fit, not had the best game either. He's going to be replaced by, I don't actually know who in there. We've probably not got an option yet. So I'm going to save the last 2 a few more minutes. Then we'll make them with about 15 to go. But a really decent away performance with 10 men. It's not the sort of dominant display I was hoping for at the start, but circumstances have dictated that. Bayavang heads a free kick wide, and if we can win this 1-0, I'll be thrilled if I'm being honest. I'm going to take off Mark Scully now, replace him with Howard up front. And then what I'm going to do is bring on young next-gen top 50 star Josip Vucinic for an appearance on the right wing. Both of those are now going to go. No, we'll leave them on attack duties. We don't want to throw this away. And then Jordan Gash will be replaced by Chris Houston, who is now happy again at the club. We have got 15 minutes to go. All 5 subs are made. And Miles Stow at the moment is saving our bacon. We're just over 5 minutes to go. And Horniak has put in a free kick for the host. It's up at the back post and it's 1-1. Oh, this has been an infuriating night. All of that excitement about the big summer. The man we spent half of our money on has got sent off for one of those stupid lunges after 5 minutes. And now we might even fall to defeat because they're in at the back post. It's deflected up. It's off the crossbar. And Bird just pushes it out for a throw. It's panic stations. I'm going to encourage the lads. We've got to try and get something here. I mean, if we draw on the night, we should get through because we've battered them with 10 men. But that has been thoroughly disappointing as Berno throws in. Is it going to get worse? Vucinic heads off the line. What's he doing back there? But he didn't think he'd be defending his 6-yard box when he came on. as Reed gets the ball to Boyavan. Can we nick it? Halston through the middle. Options left is Evans on debut. Evans in. Get in there. Jonathan Evans on his debut. He comes in and shows that magic touch. Great work from Halston before. Brilliant from Vucinic off the line at the other end. And in the 93rd minute, with 10 men, we get the 2-1 win at Bratislava. It should be Champions League. Here we come as a result of that. But my word, there's a lot to unpack from that game. Let's go and have a look at the schedule for when we're going to return. But my word, what a debut for our record signing. Well, Jonathan Evans off the bench and man of the match in that game. That tells you how good he's going to be when he's fully fit. Urza had a very different debut and Thompson has picked up a knock, but it looks like we're on our way through. So I'm not going to bother you with the second leg because I want to get through the seasons as quickly as possible now and see if we can reach the top. So I think we're going to come back at some point in September for what I hope will be our first Champions League stage game. And maybe we'll have an exciting tie there, but we'll come back for the first big one in Europe. This season, I don't intend to show any episodes that don't involve a European game, because I think now with our domestic dominance, we know where the focus is going to be. Linfield, of course, may put up more of a threat as we have got probably a lot more adapting to do this year, a bit more of a revolution of the squad. I still think we're going to win it. So Europe will be the focus. If you did enjoy this one though, a very big summer transfer window and a disastrous debut for one of our superstars, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know what you think of the signings we've made. Let me know what you thought of their debuts. And let me know how you think we're going to get on this year. Are you disappointed by what's happened with the rest of the nation in the window? Or rather surprised pleasantly by what they've done in Europe? Let me know all your thoughts down there as well. If you want to stay up to date for the rest of the season, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We had a media build El Sacico in yesterday's episode of Bristol City. Come and see if we survived in our job in that one. There's also links to the football podcast, the Twitch channel, and so much more in the eye above, as well as anything else you can't find down in the description below. But thank you very much for your support as always. It really is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time. Fingers crossed to start our third season of Champions League group stage football.